for people watching the tape, I'm stepping aside so you can look at this beautiful poster which says, "Remain in Christ." And it quotes John 15. Honey, would you bring me my notebook? It's sitting right there. The reason get too many things in your mind, you forget one of them. The reason that is important is the topic today is our hero is coming. Our hero is coming. And the Feast of Trumpets, represents a day in God's time cycle to celebrate our hero is coming. And for us to be ready for our hero is coming, we have to remain in Christ. And people fall away all the time, and anyway, all kinds of things happen. Or you want to pass away in Christ, which when you consider some bad things that may happen in the future may not be all so bad. I'm not wishing anybody to pass away, don't get me wrong. But I'm just saying in the relative spectrum of things, you want to remain in Christ until the end. And actually, it may be coming sooner than we think. I was looking at some previous notes from 2013 and 14 when our president went on an apology tour in the Middle East, and America looked weak. And what happened in the Middle East? I'm oversimplifying it, but just something called the Arab Spring, and the whole Arab world from Tunisia to sweeping across North Africa into Egypt and going up into the Middle East all the way to Syria, caught fire. Everything, revolutions, and people were in the streets, and governments toppled right and left. As a matter of fact, I believe Libya is still an outlaw state to this day. I mean, the American embassy was chased out. It's all just outlaw state. Everything just really fell apart because America looked weak. And then I realized, obviously I'm giving an opinion, you don't have to agree with this part. I realized that who's behind Joe Biden? Maybe some of the same people that were behind the administration that went on the apology tour and look weak. And what did we get out of the Arab Spring besides a horrible, and the civil war is still going on in Syria to this day at a lower level. We got ISIS. Remember, rows of Americans on their knees bowed, and these guys are about to chop off their neck. It was on. I never watched it on the internet. I just watched them getting ready to chop off their necks. I didn't go to the internet to see it because I didn't want to see it. But you remember some of those scenes, and they were throwing teenagers off high-rise building for watching a soccer game because that wasn't Islamic enough. These are radical Islamists. And then I realized, just recently, the Afghanistan debacle is like the same thing, but to the next power, even much worse, much worse. And at least it would appear at this point. Now, I will give the Taliban credit. They do have a PR department, and so they are projecting a better image than they did in the past, but it doesn't fool me. And I think a lot of people in the world aren't fooled by it either. If you look at when we went in 20 years ago and kicked the Taliban out, now they're back, and they would say we're even more of a terrorist haven than we were then. We got the remnants of ISIS and other groups coming back in. Now they're armed to the teeth with the latest weapons, 90 billion worth, and they will probably extort, they won't call it that, money from America, they'll probably call it foreign aid, but you know what it is, extortion for whatever hostages they have left. In other words, and America's reputation is even worse because at least most of the Afghans who work with Americans didn't get out. Since they control the checkpoints to the airport, they put other people in, and only a small percentage of those got out. And they're hunting them down. We actually gave them a list of them so they could let them out. Well, you know what they're going to do with that list. We're told they're hunting them down. And I heard they chopped off one guy's tongue. I won't go. You'll hear about the atrocities as they leak out. But here's the effect. All of our allies in the Middle East say, yeah, well, if we work with the Americans, when they finally turn tail and get fickle and leave, we're left behind with the Islamists to be massacred and killed. All of our allies in the Middle East, are you kidding me? Help the Americans? No way. Believe anything the current administration says? No way. But worst, our European allies are really ticked off. You all know that the British Parliament censured our president. That's never happened in American history to my knowledge. Even guys like the guy in 1812, I think it was Monroe, or was it Madison, to declare war in Britain, they still didn't censure him. So you know how it's bad. And there's, who said, they laughed at Joe Biden a few months ago at the G7, but they thought the guys behind him would keep things reasonable. Now they're saying, who was it told us we could cooperate with this guy? Whose fault is it? That's what they're saying in British Parliament now. And Prime Minister Boris Johnson tried to organize the European Union soldiers that were still, who went to Afghanistan to help us, to do a better job of controlling the city and getting all their people out. He couldn't get any cooperation from any of our allies. And at least the first 2 or 3 days couldn't even get in touch with Biden. He tried to do it on his own. I'm giving an opinion here that might be touchy. Who's the strongest person in Europe? Country. Which country in Europe would most benefit by the collapse of NATO and the ending of American power in the world and the ending of American leadership in the West? You think about it. And now the Germans didn't cooperate with Boris Johnson. No one's going to admit this publicly, but behind the scenes, I bet in some ways they see opportunity. Because if Britain and America don't lead the West, because they're now considered unreliable, who will lead the West? Spain? France? Italy? You know it's going to be Germany. They're the richest and the strongest. You probably know all that by now. So I'm just making a point. Well, in America, our administration has 3.5 more years to screw something else up, to kind of nail down that destabilization of the world, because America is not a reliable ally. And we've always predicted that Central Europe would unite and create another Holy Roman Empire. By the way, traditionally, the military might in the Holy Roman Empire has always been German. And you can go back to all those, go way back in history books, and you'll see what I mean. Actually, Rome got so bad near the end, the Romans were too weak to be their own soldiers, so they had to use outsiders. And a lot of the outsiders were from, we call it Gaul, North Central Europe, which would be northwestern France and Germany. But Switzerland, others were in the mix. And so it's coming back again. The book of Daniel is not wrong. The Holy Roman Empire is coming back one more time. Babylon the Great is coming back one more time. We believe the king of the south will be a new caliphate. What do you bet now that all the Islamists in the Middle East see America hegemony fading in the background, and they're celebrating, and all our allies, like Saudi Arabia, Middle East, are swallowing hard, like, you know that's happening behind the scenes, right? So I would not be surprised if the caliphate drive gets a whole new, and by the way, guess which country has come to support the Taliban? Turkey. They're going to run that airport. They're taking over right now. And the Turkish Prime Minister Erdogan, who his party is called, I'm putting it in English, the Party of God. I think they use the word Allah, but same thing, the Party of God. He's gotten more dictatorial than any prime minister of Turkey in many, many decades. He wants that job. Actually, at one time, the Ottoman Empire was, at least it was the remnants of the caliphate out of Turkey. He'd like that job again. I'm not saying he'll get it. There may be an internal battle between people in Egypt because they have the biggest Arab population. Turkey. I'm not sure how Iran will fit into the mix, but you can better believe the Iranians are so happy about our fade in Afghanistan. You know that, though. They're celebrating so well. And I already heard on the internet some of our top-line weapons, like the Black Hawk helicopters, are being sold to the Iranians. The Chinese claim they're going to be the best ally of Afghanistan. They're going to get those weapons. You know they're going to reverse engineer them so they learn America's military secrets. I still can't understand why our government didn't blow them up. I know, oh well, I'm going to get into the thought that maybe Obama's really secretly Islamic bias. Maybe we can't get into that because that's hard to nail down. I still can't get if you got to leave the airport in a hurry, just bomb it from the air. Blow up all that stuff. Don't leave it for the enemy. I still don't understand it, except it looks like America's going to sabotage itself. We've always wondered, well, how is America going to fall? Because the way the prophecy is written, America is not the world power near the end. We've declined. How are we going to decline? I think a lot of it's going to be self-destruction. Even our economy. I always thought it would be our economy that would force us to downgrade our military. That may yet happen. Besides the stuff they're doing with us, social engineering the military is going to weaken our military, feminize it. You all see that coming. But also, a couple weeks ago, some stuff came out. Our economy is starting to hit a rough bump. Now, the guy I listened to on this sort of thing, he actually predicted. He said the first 6-7 months of this administration, the stock market will boom because they're celebrating an ideological victory. In other words, the establishment wanted Trump out, so they're going to be so happy they're going to buy stock and invest, and everything's going to look rosy. But if the people running the government do not know what they're doing, and I believe they do not know what they're doing, and why didn't they make the evacuation in the winter when the snow would slow down the Taliban movement? It was what Trump was going to do it in April and May. You're going to do it, I know why they did it for political purposes. In the summer, that's fighting season over there. That's the dumbest, anyway. I get off talking about how dumb our government is, but assuming if they're this dumb in one item, and all the spending is only going to weaken the dollar. They're talking about another $4 trillion. At some point, the World Credit Organization, by the way, Goldman Sachs, for the second time, has predicted a downtrend in our economy. I know that doesn't mean they have to be right, but yeah, they're big deals on Wall Street. In other words, these guys are going to screw up the economy. They've already screwed it up with the labor market. They're talking about giving more money, again, to people to not work. Oh, why are a lot of businesses hurting? Because they can't get reliable workers because they're getting more free stuff from the government. Why work? Now, anyway, all that is maddening, and I could be wrong. But I want to just quote this scripture about our hero coming, and I'll talk more about what to look forward to. 1 Corinthians 15:52. In other words, the decline of America may hasten the need for our hero to come, because American hegemony has been holding the world fairly stable and keeping the bad guys somewhat at bay. But the bad guys are now celebrating in the world. 1 Corinthians 15:52. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trumpet, for the trump will sound, and the dead will be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. For this corruptible must put on incorruption. This mortal must put on immortality. You'll be like Superman, bulletproof. So when this corruptible has put on incorruption, and this mortal has put on immortality, then shall be brought to pass, saying that is written, death is swallowed up in victory. Victory is coming because Christ is coming. Victory is coming because Christ is coming. And the evil one will be locked up. America's destabilization, and I said they'll probably screw up one more time to reinforce the destabilization of America, is going to hasten the coming of Europe looking around and saying, we need to organize around somebody besides unreliable America and weak Great Britain. And you could almost see it from Germany's point of view. We fought 2 world wars to dominate Europe. Now we can do it diplomatically and financially. They bailed out a lot of countries in Europe, because money buys favor too, and they're the richest country in Europe. Anyway, I go into all that money stuff, but the point is, you see it coming, right? ISIS came in 2014, and now the Taliban is rising in 2021. By the way, I want to just say, I hope I'm wrong. I know Donald Trump came along in 2017 and kind of solved the problem of ISIS, and everything kind of went back to normal. And I hope I'm wrong, that maybe problems can be solved and everything goes back. Because I got grandkids growing up in this world. I'd like for things to be better for a while. But it doesn't look good. But I wish it would go better, but it doesn't look good. 2 Thessalonians 2:2. Not to be soon shaken in mind or trouble, either by spirit or by word or by letter, as if from us, as though the day of Christ has come. Here's what Paul tells this church. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day, the day of the Lord, will not come unless the falling away comes first and the man of sin is revealed. And I think the falling away is more than just the fall of the worldwide Church of God. I think it's bigger. I don't know exactly how it's going to look, how it's going to work out. We can only speculate. But what Bible knowledge is in the Western world will decline and decline, and people will literally worship a man, just like they worship Mussolini and Hitler and Caesar. There will be a new Caesar, and maybe he'll have more charisma than Hitler had. I don't think of Hitler as charismatic, but they said if you spoke German and you heard, they say he started slow, but he revved it up into an emotional crescendo. This guy may have even more, so it may get worse. It is coming, and people are going to be deceived. Going on, the son of perdition, who opposes and exalts himself above all that is called God or that is worship, so that he sits in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. Now, I know some man thinking he's God, but a lot of people will be deceived to believe he's God. Or if they don't believe he's God, they'll be, we're kind of advanced thinking, academic, atheistic agnostics. We don't need God, he's good enough. He's our God. Just like the people of China, Little Red Book, they literally worship Mao. What a horrible guy. And Stalin, what a horrible man. And even to some extent, Castro for a few years, till the truth about Castro came out to the Cuban people. These are all false gods. Well, a false god is coming. And remember when I said I thought Netanyahu and Trump, because Trump's the builder, and Netanyahu had it on his list of accomplishments to build the third temple. And it's almost as if the world of evil worked against both men, and the similarity is so noticeable, it couldn't just be an accident. And they're both out of power, and evil is on the move. But it still doesn't mean that third temple won't be built, because that scripture shows there must be a third temple. And the outer courtyard is controlled by the Gentiles, so the Dome of the Rock, El Aqsa Mosque, is probably going to still be there, probably. So the only point I want to make is that it is coming. Here's what may happen. It's possible the new prime minister of Judah, I'm not saying he's as bad as Biden, I wouldn't say that, of course, but he may not be as sharp as he thinks he is. Something will happen, some future crisis, and Judah will be thrown into some crisis. And the people of Judah they'll come back to God and build the third temple. I know people say, the Jews over there are too liberal, and at least half of them don't like their religious cousins. There's no way they're going to do it. People will say one thing when because they're prosperous and relatively safe, but you just never know. Since he has Islamic people in his ruling party, I can speculate all kinds of things that could go wrong. Just keep that in mind. 2 Thessalonians 2:7. For the mystery of lawlessness, 2 Thessalonians 2:7, is already at work. Only he who now restrains will do so until he's taken out of the way. Now, a lot of people speculate about that. They think it's dealing with the rapture. No, I think God has spirit beings that are holding the devil back from his full fury. You can word that in different ways you like to think of it. Maybe God has loosened the screws a little bit and Satan is now coming on stronger. But maybe we see things we can't see the spirit world. Like when Job and his friends were debating how guilty Job was, they really didn't know what was going on because they couldn't see the spiritual rivalry between God and Satan. They couldn't see it. We can't see the spirit world, so we can only speculate. So, I'm just speculating. But something is holding the devil back. Then the lawless one will be revealed. In other words, at some point, God's going to take the brick away and let the devil pull forward, whom the Lord will consume with the breath of his mouth and destroy with the brightness of his coming. Our hero is coming, and he will destroy the man of sin and the false prophet and crush Babylon the Great. 2 Thessalonians 2:9. The coming of the lawless one is according to the working of Satan with all power, signs, and lying wonders, and with all unrighteous deception among those who perish. Knows the world is perishing. God is going to work on them later, but for right now, the world is going down. And why are they going down? Because they do not receive the love of the truth. They don't receive the love of the truth. One bad thing about human nature is people believe what they want to believe. They don't believe what they don't want to believe. I don't want to hear it. Even if the facts are smacking them in the face. You're going to believe me or your lying eyes. But the truth is smacking, they still don't believe it. Now I want to tell you a stupid story about Mrs. Doofus. She had been trying to have a lot of kids for years, couldn't get pregnant, and she went into her best friend one day and she was jumping up and down. Her friend said, "Why are you so happy?" She thought, "Don't tell me. You're pregnant, right?" And she jumped, yes. And the test was positive. Oh, wonderful. She said, "And I have even better news. And she bounced up and down. "What's the better news?" "The better news is I'm going to have twins." She said, "Well, how could you know that? You just barely passed the pregnancy test." "I went to Sam's Club and I bought a twin pack." And they both came positive. Well, that joke is supposed to illustrate the point. You believe what you want to believe, regardless. You find a way to believe it. And that's what will happen to this world. Revelation 11:9 and 10. Revelation 11:9 and 10. Then those from the peoples, tribes, tongues, and nations will see their dead bodies. These are the two witnesses, dead bodies, 3.5 days, and not allow their bodies to be put in the graves. No. You're finally able to kill these guys. We couldn't touch them. If we tried to touch them, they would call down fire from heaven and burn up, the people who are trying to shoot them. So, just like Elijah did. We haven't been able to touch them. Finally, we can. We got to celebrate it. And those who dwell on the earth will rejoice over them. Make merry, send gifts to one another, because the two prophets that tormented those who dwell on the earth were dead. Now, why are they so rejoicing? Because they hated the truth these men were telling them. It's like the truth was, upsetting them. Their cognitive dissonance. "Oh, we don't want to hear it. We want to do what we want to do, and we won't want to hear that God said it's wrong. We don't care," or however you might word it. They didn't care. And anybody who needled them with the truth, they hated them. So the whole world's going to rejoice the death of those two men. Now, of course, it turns bad when God brings them back to life and they realize, everything they said is true. But that's another story. But the truth bothers a lot of people. Matthew 24:21. "For then there will be great tribulation, such as not has been since the beginning of the world until this time, no, nor ever shall be." So there's going to be trouble in the world. And maybe a lull between the troubles will be when Christ comes back. But there's going to be great trouble in those. And if those days were not short, no flesh would be saved. In other words, if God didn't stop, I'll call it World War III or whatever it turns out to be, they throw enough biological weapons. COVID-19 may be a biological weapon. It appears, the evidence shows it has been engineered in a lab. Maybe it's low level, but it gives you some thought. Biological weapons, chemical weapons, atomic weapons, and who knows, they may come up with some kind of, I've heard rumors of sonic beams that can burst people's brains and ears. I'm not trying to scare you, but I wouldn't be surprised in labs there are other weapons being worked on. Our former president even mentioned there were some new weapons coming online. He didn't say what they were. Didn't want to give the enemy a key, but if God didn't stop the world, they'd poison this planet. You think, oh no, people are too smart to do that. That's what they said before World War I. We're so highly educated, there'll never be another big war. We won't do anything like that. And they, once the devil got them started, you know, after that assassination, they just couldn't control themselves. You know the story. And it was like a meat grinder. And a lot of the bad things, concentration camps, genocide, all that started in World War. Well, maybe there are a few bad things before that, but for the most part, in a big way, they all started in World War I. So this idea that the world, people are too enlightened, scientists will build any weapon that they fund. I think that's been proven. And the idea that scientists are on a higher moral plane than everybody else, you know better than that, don't you? They lie, can be bribed, influenced just like anybody else. The truth will win out over lies and propaganda and fake news. It will win out someday. By the way, the Jews were so happy when they came out of captivity, you know, the post-exile Jews, that they kept this day, the Victory Day, the Feast of Trumpets, and they now keep it 2 days. I'm not saying they're wrong to do that. You know, they can do anything they want, as long as they keep at least one of the days as God required. They keep it 2 days because they want to celebrate the victory when they came back from captivity. And it is an important day. It celebrates the victory of God, and it's coming. You can almost hear that distant trumpet. And as the world gets worse and worse, that means Christ is coming. His coming is closer and closer. You know, as the world goes down, 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 the coming of Christ is getting closer and closer and closer. And that's one way to look at it. I mean, try to look at the good side of it. Now, maybe America will have another revival, another Trump or something, but it doesn't look likely. You see all the leadership moving in crazy directions, like the devil has got them mesmerized. And maybe I'm exaggerating. Maybe it's not that bad, but you get the feel that it's that bad. People in higher education, you know, and that includes the people who, in law schools, who educate our future judges, are all gone off the deep end because you think our judges will save us. You saw how the judges performed in 2020, don't you? I wouldn't have any faith in judges. There may be a few decent ones out there, but not enough. 1 Thessalonians 5:1. For you yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so comes as a thief in the night. For when they say peace and safety, then sudden destruction comes upon them as labor pains upon a pregnant woman. You all know the story. They had peace conferences in Washington while the Japanese fleet was on its way to bomb Pearl Harbor. They just didn't tell Americans. Actually, they meant to deliver the declaration of war with about half an hour before the planes hit Pearl Harbor, but something went wrong in traffic. And when Germany unleashed the Blitzkrieg on the Western Front, they all were calling it the phony war. There's not going to be any war outside of Poland. It'll all work out. France was gone in weeks, and much of the Western world. So in other words, things can happen fast. Well, if it happened fast with the weapons of 1939 and 1940, can you imagine how fast things could happen with the weapons of today's world? Internet attack, missile attack, who knows? That means we have to be spiritually ready all the time. We can't just assume, well, I'll wait till they declare war on America, then I'll worry about getting with the church and trying to be a little more spiritual. It may be too late, literally. It might just be too late if you wait. 1 Thessalonians 5:5. you are all sons of light and sons of the day. We're not of the night nor of darkness. Therefore, let us not sleep as others do, but let us watch. That's why they call the magazine 21st Watch. Let us watch and be sober. For those who sleep, sleep at night, and those who get drunk at night. In other words, Paul is telling them, sure, we don't know the exact date when Christ comes back, but if we are alert and sober, we'll see it's getting closer and closer and closer, and we'll get more alert and stay spiritually ready because we're watching it. Don't fall asleep. But let us who are of the day be sober, putting on the breastplate of faith and love. Putting on the breastplate, like on your chest, of faith and love. In other words, faith, you know that God's going to save us. The hero's coming. In love, the world's going to become colder, and there's going to be less love. There may be more talk about sex, but not real love. Not real love. Love's going to get colder and colder. Marriage is being totally undermined. All kinds of bad things are going on. But we should try to still have love. And the helmet of the hope of salvation. Love will die, but we want to stay because God's law is love. Celebrate that trumpet sound. 1 Corinthians 13. 1 Corinthians 13:12. 13:12 says, for now we see in a mirror dimly. This is Paul writing. We see in a mirror dimly, but then face to face. In other words, when Christ comes back, we see the spiritual things like in a mirror, but we're going to see them clearly, like face to face with God. Now I know in part, but then shall I know just as I also am known. And now abides faith, hope, and love, these three. But the greatest of these three is love. So emphasize love. Love will not die. So show love. Celebrate the coming of our hero, who's going to bring love back to this world, is going to lock the devil away. By the way, do you know the world has gotten so crazy? Stealing is now okay, I think, in several West Coast states. If you steal less than $1,000, Natalie was just showing me something online. A guy was walking through a major store with a big thing, just shoplifting stuff. He wasn't grabbing it and running. He was just casually walking through like, they're not going to try to stop me. They know that the prosecutors are not going to arrest me and prosecute unless they can prove it's over $1,000 worth of value. And literally the prosecutors out there, they say, well, we're trying to help the poor. That's crazy. All they're going to do is drive more and more stores out of business, and the poor people have no drugstores to go to. I think they've already closed 16 or 17 Walgreens and some CVS stores in San Francisco already. So you'll have to go longer distances to find one that's open. And more businesses will go out of those locations. And California is dying, and some other places. That's how bad it's going. But we're going to celebrate when things are going to be done right again. Because we're going to be in God's family. 1 John 3:2. Beloved, 1 John 3:2. Now we are children of God. We're begotten. And it has not yet been revealed what we shall be. But we know that when he is revealed, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. We'll see him face to face. Isn't that something? You can't look at God face to face because, as it says in 1 Thessalonians 6, God lives in unapproachable light. Even Moses couldn't see God face to face. But we'll be able to do that because we'll be like him. We'll be in God's family. The victory is coming. This day represents celebrating that victory. 1 Corinthians 2:9. 1 Corinthians 2:9. But as it is written, eye has not seen, nor ear heard, nor has it entered the heart of man, the things which God has prepared for those who love him. But God has revealed them to us through his Spirit. For the Spirit searches all things, yes, the deep things of God. So, if we love God, great things are coming. People haven't even imagined, thoughts of heaven, sitting there strumming choir music and looking at the beatific visions going, for all eternity. That, God has such greater things for us. If we read Scripture correctly, we'll outrank angels. And this universe is so big and so vast, but who knows what God will do in the future. But it'll be wonderful. We'll be in the family of God, do things, build things. Who knows? It'll be great. But a big happy victory is coming very soon. Now, I'm not going to read Isaiah 2:17, but it basically says God is coming back to smash mankind. Because a lot of people are arrogant. We don't need God. Science, man can do anything through science. Well, anything destructive, that's true. There are all kinds of bad stuff they can do. Sort of that attitude like after the Tower of Babel. And mankind has that attitude. But when Christ comes back and smashes the army of Babylon the Great and other armies, and all the plagues, some caused by man, but God will bring some too. When all that happens, people won't be proud. They'll be humble. And the population of the world will be less too because of the plagues. They'll be humble. And that's one of the reasons Christ is coming back, to humble mankind. Well, we need to work on humility now because God loves humble people. He says the humble and meek of the earth will rule the earth. Try to stay in a repentant attitude. Stay humble. Ask God to help us grow in character. And I know that's hard to do, but ask God to help. And be ready to join the world's true ultimate hero when he comes.